Hey, congratulations! You're now eligible to pay points.
What?
Actually, most lenders and even realtors probably won't even advise you to pay points, but did you know there's a strategy that you could utilize where it can actually increase your buying power from 10 to 15,000? In fact, if you stay tuned through this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to utilize this strategy, whether you're a first-time home buyer or even a subsequent buyer. And in fact, you can use this strategy with any style home, whether it be a townhome, single-family residence, a multi-unit, or even a condo, for even those non-warrantable condos that are out there. I'm going to show you exactly how to use this strategy and understand the difference between seller concessions and seller paid points. How seller paid points are going to help you get into the home of your dreams and help you keep more money in your pocket.
Oh yeah, that's the selling point.
That sound like a good idea to you?
All I can do right now is put on a brave face.
Whoa. First thing first.
We need you to understand what are points before we get this process started. And the short answer is points come at a cost to you as a buyer. And a good example of that would be 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount. 2 points would equal 2% of the loan amount. So if someone's saying they're charging you 1 point, that means that's an additional cost at closing for that loan amount. Hopefully that information makes sense. Now these are costs at closing, but if you stay tuned through the end, I'm going to show you exactly how to leverage your tax position with these said costs. Typically when a seller gives a credit, it's a credit towards the final bill at closing. All the costs that you have, they're going to be applying a credit that's just going to take off the top of that. It's nothing applied towards your down payment, and it's nothing that influences your interest rate. Here, I'm going to show you a couple examples of exactly what I mean. Now, as I mentioned before, points are a cost. They're a cost to you as a buyer. A seller doesn't have to pay any closing costs. That's completely depending on how motivated they are as a seller. So this is why I wanted you to see what a no concession would look like, what a seller concession would look like, and obviously what seller paid points would do for you and your family. So in this example here, the no concession, this is based on a $350,000 purchase price. Let's say you as a buyer, you're putting $10,500 down. This is what would make your loan amount $339,000. That loan amount is important because that's what points are going to be based off of when we're paying points. Now I set the interest rate to 4.125. This is me not quoting you where rates are at. This is just us getting a better idea to make math easy in the sense of seller paid points versus seller concessions. And you can see right down here, your total out of pocket for a no concession type of scenario is going to be roughly around $21,893. Now let's slide over here to the right of the screen here where you see it says conventional seller concessions. Same scenario, $350,000 purchase, putting $10,500 down, making my loan amount $339,500, using the same rate of 4.125, except in this scenario, the seller is giving me a 1.5% seller credit, which equates to $5,250. So that brings my total cost down to $16,643. Sounds pretty good, right? Bringing less money to closing, not a bad day. Now here's where I want to really dive into this. And before I show you the seller paid concession, the concession versus paid points really determines on how long you plan on keeping the home. See, this screen that you have in front of you, this snapshot is based on 7 years. Most people are going to either refinance or sell their home anywhere between 5 to 7 years. It's very unlikely that someone keeps and maintains the same original mortgage that they got at the time of purchase. At some point it changes. So that's why some of these scenarios are based on a 7-year span. Now keep in mind, that's important because if you're looking to keep this property for only 3 years or so, maybe this is a short-term living situation, maybe you're going to be moving out of state, who knows what your lifestyle is, then at that situation, a seller concession would make sense. And that's what you have here in front of your screen now, where it's showing you which loan is going to make more sense in the end. Because remember, folks, a mortgage is debt. And if you realize or understand how to utilize that debt to leverage your wealth position and debt management position, ultimately, you're going to be a lot happier with not only your lifestyle, but also some of the choices you make in the future. That being said, if you know this is going to be your forever home or you're a first-time home buyer and you're moving into a specific area where you want to develop your roots as a family, then yeah, a seller concession may not make sense because here's the reasons why. As you can see, we get into year 4, in year 5, in year 6, in year 7, the 4.125 compared to a seller paid points of a 3.625 becomes more expensive. It's cheaper in the end. If you look at the 7-year span, you'll spend less money on a seller paid points versus seller concession. So what does that look like in more detail? Well, we come down to the monthly payment section, right? You can see that there's a difference in monthly payments. So that same $5,200 credit that a seller was prepared to give me towards closing costs, I'm simply applying it towards buying down my interest rate, going from a 4.125 to a 3.625. So I'm using that same concession and applying it towards the interest rate. This is where my closing costs would have been closer to $26,000, but again, because I'm getting the seller paid points is paid by the seller, my closing costs are still around the $21,000 range, which is very similar to the no concession. But remember, you're getting a concession to buy down your rate. This is what drives your monthly payment to be lower when you're comparing the two, $24.45 versus $23.48. It's roughly a $97 difference per month. But here's the bigger factor that I want you guys to see. It's the total annual interest that you're going to be spending, right? It's only $97 per month, but look at this, folks. Look at this right here. This is the conventional seller paid points, and this is the seller concessions. This is how much interest you're going to spend in the next 7 years, depending on which loan you decide to take. It's an $11,000 differential. You'll spend roughly 11 grand more per year on a 4.125 versus a 3.625. Now keep in mind, even though you're still at $21,000 as far as total cost and out-of-pocket expense, and a seller did pay to buy down this rate, those points that we discussed before, guess what? That's a benefit to you. That is a tax write-off. So not only is a seller paying the points, you as a buyer, you're still getting the benefit of writing off that dollar amount. So if the buy down is $5,000 and the seller's paying it, you're still getting the benefit of writing that off of your taxes, allowing you to leverage your marginal tax bracket. Some of you guys are like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Marginal tax brackets? Well, it's this little section right over here. If you're looking on your screen, everybody falls into a certain bracket, how much you pay in taxes. So depending if you're single or if you're married, if you're single or if you're married, depending on where you are in the situation, this is essentially where your tax bracket's going to be. So if you have more write-offs that knock down your tax bracket, that means essentially you pay less in taxes. This is why it's super important from a leverage position to understand how seller paid points can not only help you on a monthly basis, can also help you on a long term as far as tax benefits goes. If you guys are interested in this report, please just shoot me a comment or leave a comment in the comment section. I'll send this report over to you, or even can even customize it to your benefit. So as you can see, seller paid points is not a bad thing, and seller concessions could come in benefit depending on your situation. Be sure to discuss all these options with your loan advisor and your financial institution, and hopefully you're taking advantage as much as our buyers did when it comes to seller paid points. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye now.